If you're drowning in debt right now, you've probably heard of debt relief, also known as debt settlement. Some people say it's a lifesaver. Others say it's a trap. The truth? It depends on your exact situation. Hey everyone, my name is Ben. I'm the co-founder of Ascend Finance. I have settled a lot of debt in my life for people in debt relief programs. So today, I'll break down the real pros and cons of debt relief in 2025 that most companies may not tell you. For example, I'm gonna show you two scenarios that I randomized slightly that show you just how much you can save and how fast you can get out of debt, but I'll also show you unique cons that you may never have heard of. Later in this video, I'll share some alternatives, with one of the alternatives being one that many people have never heard of. Debt relief has changed a lot over the past decade. Back in the early 2010s, debt settlement was marketed like a miracle cure. But by 2025, people are a lot savvier, creditors can still be aggressive with lawsuits, and inflation has made minimum payments even harder to keep up with. So it's critical that you don't just jump into one option. Instead, you need to know which path actually works for your household budget, your debt load, and your long-term goals. That's exactly why we built a free debt relief calculator that I included in the link in the description below to cut through all the sales pitches and give you an unbiased comparison based on the numbers, not what a company is trying to sell you. With that being said, let's do a quick rundown of what debt relief actually is. Debt relief is when a company or you negotiate with creditors to pay less than total balance. For example, let's say you owe $10,000. Instead of paying the full amount, you may settle for $5,000 and have the rest forgiven. It sounds great, right? But it's not that simple. To even qualify for settlement, you often have to fall behind on your accounts first, and that decision sets off a whole chain of consequences. In addition, this space has been notorious for debt relief companies that potentially take advantage of people, so it's essential to choose the right debt relief companies, and I'll actually cover that in the next video, so stay tuned. So let's start with the positives of debt relief, and then I'll go into negatives. First, you can save a lot of money in debt relief. This is probably the most important benefit. I'm gonna show you results slightly change for an actual user so you can get a sense of how the process actually works. I wanna show you scenario one, which I renamed them John and Jane Doe. As you can see, they enrolled 12 debts in the program, got sued by 2 creditors, so the settlement percentage was higher for those. That said, even with those settlements, this couple completed the program in just over a year and saved a total of around $20,000 even after the fees are taken. Now, that's huge for them, but please note that this couple may have been super aggressive in terms of how much money they put towards their debt to get out of debt faster, as many programs can last longer than 1 year. Now let's take a look at someone I'll call Bill Smith, who enrolled just 2 creditors in the program and settled both of those accounts for 50%. After the fees, this person ended up saving around 36%, totaling over $4,000 saved. So you can see that saving money is probably one of the biggest attractions to this option. The second thing I want to talk to you about is flexible payment structure. Instead of strictly monthly minimums, you save money into a dedicated special purpose account and negotiate settlements as funds build up. That flexibility can be huge relief in terms of tough months. For example, sometimes if you're not in an active settlement, you can reduce the amount of money you put in that account for, let's say, Christmas gifts, and that can give you that payment flexibility. Third, debt relief can be much faster than paying minimums. Settlements often wrap up in 24 to 36 months, with some, like you can see in the previous example, where they completed the entire program in just over a year, compared to 3 or 5 years in a Chapter 13 repayment plan or decades of making minimum payments. The fourth pro is that you can avoid bankruptcy. For some, settlement feels like a middle ground where they are able to avoid the public record of Chapter 7 or Chapter 13 bankruptcy. Now, I'm not saying bankruptcy is a bad option because many people opt for that option, but it does allow you to avoid it. The fifth pro is that you get relief from creditors and collection agencies. When you enroll in a debt relief program, you sign a power of attorney that allows debt relief company to negotiate on your behalf. Some debt relief companies, such as Ascend Debt Relief, will send out these documents right when you sign up, allowing you to get quick relief from your creditors and all those collection calls that can equate to over 10 to 20 per day, depending on your number of creditors. That said, other debt relief companies may not do that, so I'll cover that in the cons next. So, to summarize, if debt relief works, you can be debt-free years faster than grinding over the minimums. But let's talk about the cons, because there are quite a few, so I want you to be informed. The first con I'm going to talk to you about is credit score damage. To settle the debts, you often have to stop paying your creditors, and within 90 days, your credit score could drop 100 points or more. Now, if your credit score was already behind and you weren't making payments, then this may not affect you, but if you're current and considering debt relief, then this can definitely affect you. The second thing I'm going to talk to you about is risk of lawsuits. Some creditors won't just wait around until they get paid. They may sue after months or years of non-payment. Settlement companies can't always protect you here. Many of the best debt relief companies, though, may know which creditors are likely to sue and can estimate that at the beginning and can settle those accounts first, so you end up not being sued. Some other debt relief companies might not take that into account, and then you get a lot of lawsuits. The third con I want to talk to you about is not choosing the right debt relief company. Many people I speak with get debt consolidation loan mailers and actually get bait and switched into the debt consolidation program, also known known as debt relief, only to find out that they're not getting that loan. Thinking you're getting one thing and then getting another can create a miserable experience for you. That's why it's essential to choose the best debt relief program, which I mentioned earlier that I'll cover in the next video that I'll add to the end of this video for you to check out. The fourth I want to talk to you about is surprisingly increased draft in the program. So when you join a debt relief program, instead of paying the creditors, often you're going to put that money into a special purpose bank account. It could be, let's say, $500 a month, and you essentially build those funds up to settle the debt with the creditors. This is another reason to choose the right debt relief company, because you can start the program and then let's say 1 year later, that debt relief program is now saying, oh, we made a mistake with our initial estimate and now we're asking for an additional $500 per month. This can be a terrible experience if the company may pitch a lower amount to get you in the program only to increase it later on while you're already in, making that much less affordable. The fifth thing I want to talk about is bad after sign up care. Many companies have a great sales process down, which you talk to the person, you really connect with them, they're really jiving with you, but then you may get assigned to just general customer service agent that you have to wait a long queue to get a hold of someone. They don't really know what's going on in your situation. That said, some companies actually provide an assigned account manager that provides a number to text, email, or call to give you the most flexibility. So that after sign up care is really crucial and can be a major con if you don't get that. The sixth con I want to talk to you about is an overcharge legal plan. Now, a legal plan is meant to help you protect you if you face a financial lawsuit, like a debt collection lawsuit. But let's say that you have 5 creditors that you owe and none of them actually will sue. But a debt relief company pitches you this legal plan that's $50 a month plus a $250 enrollment fee for their plan to help in case you get sued. Now, for a 48-month plan, that equates to $2,650 in additional fees that you will never use. So that is something to be wary about. The seventh thing I want to talk about is pitching debt relief loans that you don't need. Some debt relief programs will offer a consolidation loan after you make a certain number of on-time payments, as you can potentially exit the program faster. That said, these loans can have extremely high interest rates, an origination fee that's removed, and because you're getting out of that program faster, you may face tax consequences sooner all at once in lump, which I'll talk to you about next. Now, the eighth thing I want to talk to you about is potential tax consequences. Forgiven debt is sometimes considered taxable income. There are IRS exceptions if you are insolvent that I'll include a link in the description below that you can learn about, but it's not something to ignore. Now, many people I've spoken with may be tax solvent, so this is something just to consider before you sign up. The ninth thing I want to talk to you about is fees. Settlement companies usually charge between 15 to 25% of the enrolled debt. That still may leave you with a huge benefit, and debt relief companies do a lot of work for you, but it still is something to consider. So yes, debt relief can really work, but you need to weigh both the pros and cons before committing. Now, let's talk about alternatives. Chapter 7 bankruptcy is one of the alternatives that many people consider. It can be cheaper and faster, but you have to qualify for that option. Now, the other option that many people aren't aware of is called debt management plans. It's working with a nonprofit to reduce the interest rates on your debt. Now, with a debt management plan though, it's mainly just working with credit cards that have higher interest rates and they don't necessarily work with many personal loans. Now, the problem is it's really hard to know which is right for you without running to the numbers and kind of understanding more about your situation. That's why we created that debt relief options calculator in the link below. It's anonymous and it compares debt settlement, debt relief, the cost, duration, bankruptcy, the debt management plan, and more based on your actual debt and income and state laws to help you understand what's the best option for you. This calculator exists because too many people were being sold into the wrong program. When you want something unbiased, client first, and transparent, that you can see the full picture before deciding and not just taking the word of a salesman that's trying to get you to make the sale. Now, I'm going to include a link up in the video for the next video called The Best Debt Relief Programs that I encourage you to watch if you're considering this option. If you found this video helpful, please feel free to subscribe or like, as it's always encouraging to me, and we're constantly creating new videos to help you get out of debt cheaper, easier, and faster. Thanks so much for watching.